Greetings, everyone. I'm going to try to be very succinct with this. You know how I get into these run-on stories. Bless up yourself, Claudette, for this visual. Now I'm going to talk about my experience with a friend that I invited to Canada. She asked for an invitation letter, and I wrote it for her. But the thing is, after I wrote the invitation letter for her, I never heard from her for about 3 months or more. And when she called me up the day before she was to arrive. And it was the worst timing for me. We had no plans. We didn't discuss her staying situation. She had just asked for this invitation. And I wrote it thinking that if she was really coming for 2 weeks, I could entertain her. But things had changed. And so when she called and said she was coming the next day, I did tell her it wasn't the most appropriate time for me because of what I was going through. But nevertheless, she came and she was staying with another person that she met. In fact, she and her friend were living in the Cayman Island, and I guess they were told that they had to go back to Jamaica because I guess with the Cayman Island, you work for a while and then you have to renew your stay, and sometimes you have to stay away from the Cayman Island for a while before you can go back. So this happened to be that type of situation for her and her friend, and they decided just to come to Canada without telling anyone that this was going to be more of a permanent situation. Well, you know, with immigration, you're not allowed to do that. And when I sent an invitation letter, I was just sending that. Nevertheless, she came, and about a week and a half after she came, she called to let me know that where she was staying, the person asked her and her friend to leave because that lady was expecting company and could no longer accommodate them. At that time, I felt, compassion for her because here she was. And again, at this time, I still don't know that she's planning to stay indefinitely. So I invited her and her friend to my place for the weekend. And when her friend came, oh my goodness, what a piece of work she was. Because everything I offered that girl to eat, she said that I don't eat that. I don't eat this. I don't eat that. Now, I'm on a budget and I'm not trying to play like I'm rich. I'm just working with what I got. I have two young children, and I'm working just, bare minimum, even though I'm a professional. But, I had a lot of demands on my life. And so I knew I didn't want her friend to stay at my place no more than the weekend because she was too much. She said, when she said, I don't eat this, and I said, tell me what you eat, because it's easier to just narrow down what you eat as opposed to what you don't eat. I don't eat this, that. I have to have oxtail. This woman came to Canada with her suitcase, no money, nothing, and she had all these demands. So I said to my friend, I'll let you stay with me. We'll work something out. You can stay with me. I will pay you to take care of my daughter, because at this time I was looking for another person to take care of my kid because she had severe allergies and the people I was leaving her with were very careless. So I thought, well, you know what? This is a symbiotic relationship. She's stuck here for the moment, and I'll let her watch my daughter until she's ready to leave. Because again, I'm still thinking she's staying for a short time and then she's going to leave. Well, she told me she extended her visa, and I said, okay, I'll let you stay with me. She stayed with me for 6 months. And during this time, like 6 months at the place where I was living, and during this time, I didn't ask her for anything, and I paid her. In fact, I paid her per day. And she did a fantastic job taking care of my little girl. For someone that has no children of her own, she was just so nurturing. She was really good to my child. And I felt a sense of gratitude to her. So I allowed her to stay. I took care of her food. I took care of her living expense. And whatever I paid her, that was for her own keep. Then another friend approached me and told me that she was having some situation and that she was looking for a roommate. Now, keep in mind, I have my own place. The other female used to go to my church, and she had a place with another friend that got married. And so now the friend has moved out, and she wouldn't be able to afford the place on her own. So I said, okay, it's a temporary situation. I will take the 2 bedrooms, because at the time it was 2 extra bedrooms that she didn't need. And I'll take the extra 2 bedrooms and I'll move there. I told the friend, I feel a sense of obligation to my friend because she's staying with me until she's ready to go back to Jamaica. So unless she can come with me, I'm not going to be able to assist her. I'm not going to be able to take the place. And she said, yes, no problem. My friend could come. Now at this time, she's not taking care of my little one anymore because I made other arrangements. And she is in my house for another 6 months because she said she applied for the extension to stay, to extend her visa. And so she spent another 6 months. And during this time, she's not working for me anymore. I'm paying the rent. I am buying food and whatever that comes along with having someone stay in your home. An extra mouth to feed. During this time, I said to her, you know, why don't you do some babysitting? There were people on my building that were looking for people to put their child onto the bus and take the kid off the bus. Just go in the lobby, take the kid off the bus or put the kid on the bus for school. That's all. I went around, I made flyers of my own, and I dropped them in my building to see if I could get her some clients. And when I did, the morning when we planned to go around to drop this off, she told me I should go by myself because she's fasting and praying. And I dropped off the flyers. Folks called her. She just said she wasn't interested in doing that. Another friend of mine is a nurse. She called me and she said that she had someone looking for a person to stay at the house for 2 weeks while she goes away on vacation to Florida, just to get a break, because this lady was taking care of both of her parents. One has Alzheimer's and the other person was having some other respiratory kind of problem. When I told my friend about it, she said that the woman with the Alzheimer's has demons on her. She's not comfortable going there. I, as a teacher, took time off from my job to assist my friend who was a nurse because it was her friends or people that she was really working with, but she wanted to help the lady out just to get a break. I took the time off from my job and went and stayed there and left my friend at my place. So while I was doing this, I started thinking, what is this? Why am I even taking on this kind of responsibility when this person obviously doesn't care? When I returned one morning, when I woke up to getting ready for work, about 3:30, 4 o'clock, I saw the light in the living room. And when I went, she was there eating cheese, nicely cubed, and grapes, and drinking from some champagne glass, even though she probably was just having juice because she's a Christian. I was like, wow, isn't this the life? Now, one morning I was home and I felt sick. The room started turning upside down. I had vertigo. And so the room was spinning, and that was the first time it was happening to me. And I called out for her because she was there and my other roommate was there too. And when she came to the doorway, she was standing there at the door looking at me like, you know, she saw demons. And I was telling her I don't feel well and whatever, and I might have to call 911. Anyway, I drank a lot of water, flushed my system. I started feeling better, only to realize that she was sitting in the living room telling the person that I was sharing place with that it's kind of a demon-like thing that I'm experiencing. keep in mind, the roommate had asked me to put her out because the other person who actually has the apartment in her name that subletted to us was saying, why is this lady taking advantage of me? Why is she there? She's not taking care of my kid anymore. She's not doing anything to help herself. The woman said, put her out. But I didn't feel comfortable just putting her out like that. I just wanted to give her some time. So I told her, find an opportunity, find a job, find whatever it is you need to do so you can move on. Because I had gone to take care of those sick people. It was $500 for the week. And she didn't want it because she said they had demons. I realized she was taking advantage of me. And to make matters worse, when I was sick and needed her for a moment, she was not there for me. And I just had enough. So I said, you got to go. But I couldn't put her out on the street. I was giving her a chance, to find somewhere else to stay. And she was the type of person who was always gone. She was always at church. She wasn't, we were attending the same church at the time. And she would get up and get dressed in the morning and leave by herself, even though we lived together. Even though I was being there for her. She clearly showed she was not my friend. To be living in my house and feeding from my pot. And I'm pretty much taking care of all your expenses. And I never once asked her for $1. And she's going to church, the same church as myself. And she leaves before me, even though I'm getting ready to go to. So I just kind of realized this woman was using me. She was not really a friend. We were friends in high school. But now she just saw me as an opportunity. She was a real opportunist. And if you ever listen to my video, you know this is the truth. I'm not telling any truth. You were a user. Both you and your friend came from Cayman. And you guys didn't regard anybody. You just wanted to think about yourself and what was good for you. So that morning, when she said that demons was on me, I'm like, why am I doing this? It's a year later. You're not paying rent. You're not buying me food. You're not taking care of anything that's related to your living except expense. I had it that day. It was building. She wasn't doing anything to help herself. And as she waited for the decision for immigration to say if she could extend that visa some more time, I decided, you know what? She needs to go her own way. I was being pressured by the person who originally had the lease because she said that I was too naive and that she was taking advantage of me. I was being pressured by the other person that I was sharing the place with to say she has to go. And I let her go. I just want to say here that a lot of times people come up or from Jamaica and I don't know what they're expecting. And when they stay with persons who accommodate them freely, and then the person says, okay, you have to go now. They don't know. Leave before things get sour. Don't take disadvantage of people. Stop planning your vacation to America, to England, to wherever it is, to go and stay at people's house indefinitely. And if you're even staying there temporarily, come with your money. Because nobody here is living any life to where they can just let you come and stay with them indefinitely and pay your bills and take care of you. It's just terrible. And unfortunately, when the roles are reversed, when people from abroad go home to Jamaica, nobody's laying out no red carpet. Some people like to say, we let you come to our house, we give you the best, this, that, and the other. But those people who are doing those things and making people feel welcome and giving them a good time, they're few and far between. It's always the other way around. I used to go to Jamaica carrying 6 suitcases weighing 70 pounds each, always overweight as a matter of fact. And when I'm coming back, not even a t-shirt I've ever gotten from anybody. But people feel they were entitled to my things. And now this was a classmate from my past, and I was there for her. Long story short, after she left, I saw her at the bus stop one day. She was literally hiding from me. I actually went over to her and said, hey, you're hiding from me. After everything that I did for this young lady, she was hiding from me. No, you took advantage or disadvantage of my kindness, and you were very ungrateful, and you were not there for me. So in terms of the lady that went to New York and was put out, I personally wouldn't put her out knowing that she just had a few more days and she was new. Um, I gave my friend time to find accommodation, and she was a person who was very sociable in the church. Now, there's some story that I heard that happened to this other lady in New York that kind of resonated with me, because I too felt uncomfortable with her having people's husband drop her off at my house. I asked her not to do that because, again, my landlord was also living there, and people don't understand, when you're living in someone's house, even though you're paying rent, it's not your home, and you don't want to make that environment uncomfortable for the person who owns that home. And so having men drop her off all the time, especially men who are married, you're a church person, you're a Christian lady, how do you feel comfortable having someone's husband drop you off all hours of the night and stuff? I didn't feel comfortable about that, and I spoke to her about it, and she did stop doing that. So the lady that this happened to in New York City, I feel empathy for her. But you have to take responsibility for your action. And though what happened to her, where she was put out on the street with her suitcase in New York City, I felt for her because she's going through a lot of stuff. But at the same time, I'm not going to trash her friend. I'm not going to say too many things about her friend. Everybody's demonizing the woman. But you have to understand person's circumstances and their threshold for putting up with certain things. Perhaps her threshold was very small, and we can't judge person when they say, these are my standards, these are my rules, and if you can't abide by them, you go. Me personally, I wouldn't have put her out because it's dangerous. I wouldn't have put her out in the street like that without her making alternative arrangements. And so with my friend, I waited patiently after she told me she had made arrangement. But she told me that same week, she told me she had secured her place. And so when she was there looking at me like I had some devil on me because I was feeling dizzy, she had to go. And she proved not to be a real friend because she never really tried to reach out to me to say thank you for 1 year of taking care of her, making sure food is in my house, making sure she's comfortable. And every time I suggested to her find temporary work or something, she would always have an excuse. She's always praying and fasting. When we make plans to go out and hand out these flyers, the lady said, you go. I had a job. She didn't. She was telling me, you go. Now, when I think about it, I have myself to blame. And I had to stop being that way. I'm not that person anymore. I am not. But I'm going to say, before we start judging the lady that put that other lady out, what she did was not right. But at the same time, there is a threshold.